performance career, where I can get on stage and there's not that much cohesion. There's like, I got Broadway shows and pop music and things, and I do an Ethel Merman medley, and then I sing something from Rent, and then I do Creep, Radiohead, and I stopped worrying about it all making sense. It's like, these are all who I am, and different sides of me, and different experiences I've had in my life, and music that I love to sing, and thankfully I'm at the point in my career where people will pay to see it, but for a long time, it was just like, who are you? Who do you see yourself as? What artist do you compare yourself to?
Well, that was going to be my next question. How do you go about fashioning a concert? And you've really just answered the question by being yourself. Anybody here seen Idina in concert? It's really remarkable, and what's so unique about it really is that you found a way to be yourself. And what's great, what's most interesting about an artist like Idina is when you can your uniqueness can come through in a world that's very much sort of segmented and branded. It's that way in the theater too. There's just the roles you have played have represented perfect marriages of actress to role, and there's something that is just inextricably bound up between you and the character. So you brought that to your concerts as well.
I'm not afraid of making mistakes anymore in public. Because they're usually really helpful. They put the audience at ease, and they give me an opportunity to say something funny and find something new. I think that all harkens back to the wedding thing, because I used to drive to the gig and they'd say, the bride wants to hear, some tune that I had to learn in 3 seconds while I'm driving, and I'm like listening, and go up there and I just fake half of it. Then like I phonetically sang some lyrics that didn't even make sense, but they're not really listening anyway. And it was like, so to be kind of like not perfect became something that was okay. And I thought at first, like, well, that's not good. You need to. And in Broadway, a lot of times it's how perfect can you sing, how much vibrato, how long can you hit the note, how high. And I stopped worrying about that being what defines you and makes you great, and that if you can just be authentic. Which mistakes are authentic, that's the people's way into you, and that's what gives people chills, not the most perfect note that you hold with the most perfect vibrato to the back of the room.
Did you ever try something concert-wise, a song or a medley that didn't work the way you wanted it to, or something that you didn't think would work that became like so popular in that?
There's stuff I didn't think went over that well, but I don't really remember. Like Creep, Radiohead, I took a chance with that. I was feeling a little bit, having Let It Go and Defying Gravity, all of these sort of empowerment songs. I was feeling a little bit like a fraud, because it was like all this like telling everybody, feel good about yourself and be powerful and you're a woman and get out there and fly, or own who you are and be an individual, and then I'd like have a bad day, I'd be depressed in my own bed and I couldn't get out of bed and felt like shit, and so I was like, I need to do a song where it's also about feeling like shit, otherwise all of that doesn't make any sense to me. So I remember sitting with JT, my hairstylist at If Then, I was like, what song's about feeling just really ugly? And she was like, do you know that song? I was like, yeah. And then, you come up with an orchestration, make it a little bit more theatrical, so it kind of all comes together, and you have a heavy metal guitar playing, but then you have strings doing this thing, and all of a sudden my worlds kind of collided, and so that actually has been a happy mistake or whatever.
You, in your concert career for a number of years, seem to enjoy a very special relationship with Marvin Hamlisch, who was one of the great songwriters of our time. Can you tell us a little bit about that relationship and experience? Yeah. And so sad that he's gone, of course.
Well, there's one thing when you're working with an iconic person that you've grown up singing songs that he wrote, admiring, revering the women that he wrote for, and then to sit on his piano bench next to him and sing The Way We Were, or What I Did for Love. I mean, I'm not stupid. I like I said, I take those moments and I'm like, this is a good one, There's also 2 Jews at the Catskills, pretty much. It was very, once we met, we were just very I was very comfortable. You know, he was like, we were just, he was, you know what it was? I was doing a lot of concerts with these big pops, orchestras and everything, and I'd come on, and they are very about being perfect, and the conductor and everything, and he was the only one that was cool with things being a little loose. And we'd stop in the middle of something, we'd make a joke. One time there was those beautiful people that sign, you know, while you're doing a performance, and I said something about tits and ass, and she had it, and we both were like, we have to stop and see, how does that get signed? So we just had the same approach to things, and he had great stories, you know, and so I miss him.
I'm sure you do. So music, theater, you've also, of course, appeared in front of the camera, both on film and television. Let's talk about film a little bit. You've done a number of films, like Ask the Dust, Robert Town.
A little bit. That's embarrassing to talk about with you here. I don't like this many things.
A great film. And of course, the Rent film. But what's interesting is what I'm sure we'd like to know is the difference in how you build a character and how you act in front of the camera than when you're on stage. They're very different experiences, and just how much you enjoyed it, didn't enjoy it, the challenges. Well,
I like the change scene. I mean, 8 shows a week, as much as it's amazing, and being in shows that are successful and run a long time, it's incredible, but it's also a grind, you know. By the time you leave after a year and a half, it's nice to go into a different world, a different medium, and try something new. So, you know, I don't find it always so different there. And maybe it's because I like the community of theater that I seek it out on the set as well. It's, I don't like being a guest star where I come on just for 2 days and I don't know anybody. I like doing the movie of Rent because I had a good role and I was there for 2 months and got to hang with the crew and ask questions with my Marcus here and where's the camera, and like you can learn because you feel like this is my home for the next 2 months, whereas when you're kind of a guest, you don't want to get in the way and take up too much time. So, I mean, yeah, so I'm still learning, and I always try to ask a lot of questions. How big is my face, especially if you're singing in a film? Because a lot of times you fake that, because if you sing with the same, if you sing for real, a big note, like a belting note, but the camera is this close, they most certainly will tell you, I can see your cavities, it's not, you don't look attractive. So fake it if you're usually lip syncing to something, you know, and just like, so I could be singing like, if I was in the Wicked movie, which I probably won't be, I
many people would like Idina.
Way too old by the time he gets it done. But unless he CGI's it, and he knows how I feel about that, I really wanted to do that. But the point being that if it was you know, I'd probably have to go like so I look pretty, but it's really weird how it works out, and I feel like such a fake. But on Glee, I learned that a lot. Leah Michelle taught me a lot, because she didn't move her mouth that much, but it looks real on the camera. And I'm like, but we're not singing, you know? And she's like, you don't want to do it, it's not going to look good, you know?
Was that fun, the Glee experience?
Yeah, both. Like I said, it was a bittersweet. One, because the gig came in 3 months after I popped the baby out, so I felt fat as all hell, and I was Leah Michelle's mom. Like, could I just be her older sister? I mean, she wasn't as young when she was playing, you know, so it was like, really, I'm her mom, and so it wasn't good for my ego, I'll be completely honest, and you know, but I was happy to be there and work with those people, and yeah, it was cool. But I had to get over myself a little bit.
That, you know, you've done, when you think about theater and film and television and concerts, you've sung at the White House, you sung at the Super Bowl, you sung at the Oscars. That wasn't you, that was how did you feel about that whole experience, by the way?
Best thing that ever happened. It was great. I mean, the honest truth, right when it was happening, I was like, what the fuck did we do? And I had about 8 seconds before the intro, but you know, the orchestra's playing live. So it's like, you know, it was like, oh my God, I finally made it this big. But you just fucked up. The song was coming, Harry, get over yourself. You're so vain and conceited. Just go, sing. Like Meryl Streep is there. That's the whole thing that went on in about 8 seconds to just get myself back in the zone. Because I had meditated about this moment. Like I want to enjoy it and breathe and sing to my son, make it about him and not like, oh, George Clooney sitting there, you know. So, and then he fucks up my name. I was like, ah! So I had to like get back my focus really fast, you know.
But it certainly was the highlight of that evening.
It was
for better or for worse. And John's such a lovely guy.
He's so sweet and
honest,
emailed
we felt
flowers,
terrible,
and
so.
yeah, it was the best thing that ever happened to me because all these people, really not from the theater that didn't know me now, were like, who's the girl? What's her name?
You became a household name, just the wrong name.
Exactly. And the one thing some reporter said to me once was, you know, it's actually nice because it's not that he messed up your name, but all the people that know you that were rooting for you were upset because they're like, you know, it was sort of I should appreciate the support that I was feeling from people about that. So that's how I changed it.
Well, you've done all of those things. What are there other opportunities, are there characters, are there experiences on your bucket list that you haven't, you know, as you go into the next chapters of your life that you think or have thought, I'd like to try that or do that or stretch these muscles or something different, or is it just what comes, you react to what comes in front of you? And
yeah, I really feel, you know, at peace with where things are in my life. I would love to do some more film where it doesn't even have to be the lead role, but like with amazing actors, so I can keep like learning that craft because I haven't made myself available enough to do it. Just when I got pregnant, or then I'm on the road singing, and so I'd like to just, you know, do that so I can and play some characters that are some more characters as opposed to like. Well, in theater I get to play characters. It seems like in film I get seen for more like sexy older lady. I like Ask the Dust, which nobody saw because it was a real grungy, wounded character and a period piece, and something completely different.
but you enjoyed the experience.
I love the experience. Well, I was also, imagine being like in love with Colin Farrell and then the phone rings and they're like, we have a role for you, and you get to stand naked in front of Colin Farrell. With prosthetic burns on your body, is really what it was. So it was like, oh, I can't just be sexy. That's right. She was like, so she was, that was not a fun day.
You mentioned, of course, a big part of your life, which is your mom. You
Uh-huh.
have a 6.5-year-old son, Walker. Has that changed your approach to characters, your approach to your career? Does it bring other colors into it? How has that impacted you?
I think it's made me just less neurotic. You're probably like, I don't see that. No, because I was so worried about my voice all the time. You know, it's hard. And I still am. You know, you wake up in the morning, the first thing you do is you go, what is it? Oh, sorry. You know, when having a child, like I said, gets you out of your own head. You have somebody much more important that needs you. And so if he's up in the middle of the night and I can't sleep, but I have a big show to do the next day, and well, maybe I'm not going to hit that note, you know. I'm going to get up there, I'm going to do the best that I can, and I found that it actually took the pressure off me, and I end up enjoying myself more for some reason lately.
Liberated you in some ways.
It has liberated me,
Yeah.
totally.
Yeah. Well, let's just say that, because I know you're a very devoted mom, and we all know that Broadway and Hollywood can be a challenging environment. Let's just say a producer like me saw your kid and said, oh, that kid is adorable, beautiful, dances amazing.
Why are you saying this in front of them?
I'm just asking a question, and said somebody like
No.
myself came along and said, how about putting him in a TV series or a movie? What would you say?
No, I say go Fox.
I tried.
Well,
I tried.
when he's old enough to make the choice, but even so, I wanted to be auditioning for Annie. And I remember in backstage it said you can't be taller than 4'11", and I was like 4'10", and I ran into my mom and I was like, I'm gonna be too tall, let me audition. She was like, you're not allowed to act as a kid. When you get to college, I'll let you do it, you know? And it was because we saw some girl got yanked off the day camp bus to go to a commercial audition in Manhattan. She was hysterical, crying. She just wanted to go to day camp and play volleyball, you know, and swim. And it made this impression on us. And I fought my mom tooth and nail. And everybody has their own journey, but I'm glad because you know, I went to NYU and did my thing and